Greetings and salutes, everyone. I know we're live. We were handling some things. It's okay. Stuff was still getting set up. So, bear with us. We'll get into this. But welcome back to another episode of Talkin' Tactical, the Council of Airsoft Dudes. And tonight, we have a beautiful panel set up. Some familiar faces, some new. And as I've previously said in other videos in leading up to this episode of the Council of Airsoft Dudes, we have I didn't want to do that, but I have a co-host now. It is official. You've seen him in the last two episodes of the Council of Airsoft Dudes, and he is here. He's right up here in the middle. That is Cutter Airsoft, my beautiful co-host, and he is
Evening,
here
everybody.
tonight. And then we're gonna go around and introduce everybody else who is on the council this evening before we get into tonight's topic. And then to the, I want to say it's to like the left. We're right. It's all backwards and weird, so bear with me. We got Crazy Jason here tonight.
What's up, everybody?
You also know him as the Gremlin Cam in some of the new footage out of Sheboygan. And if not, you've also noticed he's been there. To the other side of Cutter, we have Odin of the QC Nomads. I have met him a couple different times, mainly at Sheboygan. But through working with the Nomads a couple different times, I've even played against him. He's a really good dude, great airsofter, and he gets around to a lot of different fields, and from what I understand is in the know of a lot of different people of what's going on. I'm happy to have you here tonight, man.
Thanks for having me.
And then, of course, you guys know another familiar face. Right next to me, we have Shadow Ghost, who's also got himself in those beautiful videos of Sheboygan because Crazy Jason, Cutter, and Ghost are all part of Squirrel Team 6 through Task Force Shrubbery, my airsoft team. So, again, Ghost, thank you for joining us this evening on this episode of the Council.
Thank you for having me, man. It's good to be here.
Now, tonight's theme, subject, whatever. I gathered the council here tonight to discuss changes that we want to see in airsoft. I tried to get a nice diverse crowd going here because this isn't just changes in one aspect of airsoft. It's in all aspects of airsoft. Rules, gameplay styles, events, tech, gear, anything like that. Anything across airsoft that any of you would like to see changed or will eventually change in the future. So, with that being said, I'm not gonna cut any bones about it. Odin was excited about this one because he says he's got a lot. So we're gonna kick this off with Odin. Odin, what first thing would you like to see change in airsoft?
I guess the one that really irks me is we play a lot of mil sims because we're here in the Midwest. You know, we're right on the Illinois-Iowa border. I've played all over the country though in the last couple of years here, and lazy event promoters are absolutely my. I don't know. I've played with some real good ones, and I've played for some real bad ones. You know, you pay a couple $100 for an event, and you go out there, and it's basically a glorified open play. That's not an event. That is glorified open plays. I've seen both of them. Like we went to Landon. My son and I went to Vegas and played in the initial mall sim down in Prim, and it was awesome. It was incredible. I had heard, you know, good things, bad things about Lion Claw, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go and see for myself. At the least, we're taking a trip to Vegas together, and it'll be fun. So we went out there, and they did a wonderful job. They actually kept score and updated you on points at the end of the day, and had people timing objectives and. They gave you a score at the end, like they announced it at the raffle. Who won? Who lost?
Amazing. Really?
Yes, it was really nice. The other thing they did, and it was nice. And you know, I mean, people say, "Oh, I don't care if you win or lose." It's not about that. Yes, it is. It is. Like I grown up as a competitor. I played high level hockey before I got into airsoft, and I like the competitive aspect of it. I like the banter of it. I like the gunfights of it. I'm not out there to dress up and LARP and all that stuff. Some guys are, and that's fine. But those guys are usually the ones who've never won anything in their life, so they've just gotten used to losing. And it's okay to lose too, but it is fun. You can have fun, but I can tell you, I have a whole lot more fun when I'm winning than when I'm losing.
Mhm.
I've been on both sides of that, but
Oh yeah.
some of us moved out of mom's basement and we want to keep score. We want to know who won. And I'm not here to eat MREs and, you know, compare who spent the most on their pants. But so these guys out there, I mean, it was unique to that mall, but like the admins were the medics. There was no team medics, so there was always an admin. They had, I don't know, probably 15 admins around the mall, and you had to drag your guy to him or carry him or whatever, run him back, hand in hand or whatever. If you ran him back hand in hand, they made you stand there for a couple of minutes, but if you carried him, they revived him right away and, sent him on. So there was an admin in the fight everywhere, and it was a really good time. We play a lot of mirror events, and some of them have been good, some of them have been dog shit.
I
That's
you
just
know
how it is.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna caveat on that one, specifically with the mirror one, because I have only gone to mirror events so far. Those have been the ones that I've been able to afford and cheaply get to and been close around. Because I myself, as everybody knows, I'm also in Iowa in the Midwest. Um, Out of the 3 events that I've been to, it's been 2 runs to Sheboygan at Operation Blacklist, and then I've done Operation Big Brother in Burlington, Iowa, at the old Apollo High School. Um, which is no more in a viable AO, which sucks because I thought that was a nice little tight spaced AO. But I do agree with the fact that on the aspect of essentially running a glorified open play, that's what Mir does and does it well. But they constantly say they're keeping score through Ares alpha boxes. They say they're going to, let you know who's going to win, and they never do. Their admins in chats don't respond to people, and changing of rules mid game. But yeah, everybody always goes in a tizzy about who won. This year, we went with the expressed idea of we were going to win. I normally don't really give a shit because I just like playing Airsoft, Milsim, whatever.
Bragging right.
Yeah, but bragging rights are nice. So I agree with you with 100% that they're, and I've heard of other promoters doing so, of like, if you're going to say that this is a competition that's score based, let them know. Like, it's 100%. And a lot of people, just because the legit league competition Airsoft is like limited to certain places on the coast, doesn't mean that people aren't going to these events to compete on like what they would consider semi-pro or pro level. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and you're not winning trophies. We're not doing
no,
things like that. But when you're paying for an experience,
yeah,
it's got to be for everybody. Now, in going back to the mirror events, playing for Marcus, um, who was there in the years past. Now that JK's contract with Mirror was up, Jonathan's not there anymore. I always thought Jonathan did a really good job, but he did a good job because he picked his guys. And the new kid, Sean, who did it this year, I enjoyed with Sean. I wish we would have had somebody at the AO giving out missions and stuff. Like Marcus kept my team busy. He knows we always talk about it, that our guys like playing with purpose, and I want to have a reason. Whether it's going up and grabbing a soup can on the 3rd floor and bringing it back, you know, I'm okay with that. But Marcus always kept us playing with purpose, and I miss him for that because he kind of understood his people that were playing with him. Some guys were out there just to wander around, shoot some BBs with their friends, and that's okay. So I can't say mirrors have all been bad by any stretch. I wouldn't keep going back to them. I do believe that your money goes where you
yeah,
believe in, and it's just, yeah, I think it's hard in the transition now, especially, and I think they'll get better. But like I said, I'm not mad at Mirror, but I've been at some other places too where it's just the open play refs are horrible, like absolutely horrible, horrible, and they create a toxic culture. And then we get into like in our travels and stuff, we've been to Ohio, to that Cleveland area up there, the 2 MK fields and the Odin's Paradise field. And those guys have just a wealth of riches. It's unreal how awesome that is. And everybody there is engaged. Their refs are good. Their management is good. I mean, those guys are so lucky up there.
Yeah, and I've heard from all over the better places, and I really hope Mir, and I'm not gonna not go to Mir events either. I agree with you. They still are fun. They're still a good time. And me personally, with my experiences with JK in the past, because I've always usually played on green team. He's usually always been the green team squad leader or commander. If not him, it was Jake, who last year at Blacklist, Jake was the commander of green team, and that dude was a ledge. He was at spawn. He was at spawn the whole time. Every time we came back, it was handing out kill cards if something changed, letting us know the call and response changes, mission updates, what we were doing, where we were pushing, he was giving us the constant go, which I really appreciated that. This year,
Direction that was needed.
This year,
I think this comes down to mislabeling a lot too. I hate to put it that way, and I hope Mirror Tactical sees this and pays attention. There's a lot of people that love open play games. There's a lot of people that love themed based games. But when you call a game a milsim game and you have people going out and they're spending this kind of money on the tickets, those are the individuals a lot of times that are going to be competitive. They're coming to get that milsim feel. Yes. They have an expectation of that event. And one of those is having a commander on the field. And I feel that was, I'm not trying to diss them, but that was a big major hole at like OP Blacklist. Not having a commander, not having that direction, not being told, even if we were up, down, which way, nothing. It was just an open play game. And if I'm going to do that, I can go to my local field and do an open play game.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it though is that you're buying the chance to play at that AO too. Mm-hmm. You know, if this was just
abandoned insane asylum's a pretty offshoot thing. It's not your field with a bunch of shipping containers and blue barrels. It's definitely I mean, it was 3 stories and the roof and the basement, and you're paying for the like you said, part of that is the AO.
But if you're going to do an open play at the Insane Asylum, call it an open play at the Insane Asylum. Don't call it a milsim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
Comparing that particular one to what we did in Shadowlands in South Carolina. Shadowlands, we had set missions, set times. They were being radioed into our commander, and we were putting together particular squads to go take particular areas, or there was something in that area, or you had to get somebody out. But it was within a certain time, and you got certain points. And at the end of the day, out of the 3 teams, we knew by points, who came in first, second, and third. And I thought it was great. And I was hoping there was going to be more like that to Mir. And they were like, well, there's a couple ammo boxes around, and there's some blue cap vials, and have fun shooting everybody.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and the blue cap vials were just left over from the haunted house. It was, hey, you wear one of those, and seriously, that's what it is. It was litter. It was honestly litter. Like, I've joked about it because Alex and them, they have to clean up afterwards, and I've always joked that the final mission one of these times is going to be who can collect the most EG-67 shells in garbage bag weight, and it would be kind of fun.
Grenade husks, all pieces, and
just who can collect the most weight in grenade husks, and I could totally see it. But again, I don't discredit Alex or whatever, because he puts a lot into doing these cool AOs, the Muscatatucks, the malls, all these things. And that's part of the experience. And that's part of what draws people. If we just said, hey, we're going to go to this paintball park and, open everything up and have a big game, you may get some locals and stuff like that. Like I've done the one up in Sherwood Forest, and it was fun once, but we went back again, and it's just, a bunch of people yelling back and forth at each other. They're not calling hits from overhopped BBs 300 feet away. I mean, it's just kind of how it is, but I like the CQB. I like the indoor, and that's where we started at. And
it's a good time. And I was happy this year that we were actually able to run together. This year
it was fun.
Awesome.
And I kind of get shiny things complex too when I get out there. I'm like, oh hey, I'm gonna run with these guys. I rarely ever play with my team as a whole, unless it's actually like a mission and I grab everybody to go together. Like our team doesn't stay together that well unless we have an
Yeah.
objective that we need to get. We just kind of wander off and do our own thing.
And I can honestly say I in the few different times, because I've run with a few the Nomads a few other times at like Central City or the Dragons, and yeah, you guys aren't really organized, but you do fall in line with other people real quick and just run, and it still just flows. Because I know for a fact, like there was I believe it was Landon who ended up joining up with us randomly out of nowhere in the asylum, and like we were coming out of the tunnels, he's like, "Squirrely Nuts, dude, run with you guys was awesome. That was a blast. You guys know what you're doing." Like
Oh, no, there were a couple times we had a few of their guys with us in stairwells and stuff. So yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
obviously
we were that was our 5th time there, so we're all pretty used to the stairwell fights.
oh, yeah.
And those are nasty. Like I enjoyed the nastiness of some of it. Like it feels violent and real at times. Like I remember the first time we went there, we come back and a loud noise and I'm jumping for cover, because for a week afterwards, because it's like, holy crap, you saw these grenades going off and everything. But yeah, some of those we don't mind going to the dirty areas, and that's a lot of it's because we've been to so many places that play Nomad and all that. That's another soapbox I could get on
Yeah.
and just rant for hours about med, but it went so far as Landa and I made ballistics gel last year and showed how stupid med is. The BBs are actually accelerating at about 8 feet away. So,
Yeah.
but that was my topic. I wanted to get off my chest.
Oh, you do. No, I appreciate it. I agree 100%, considering that my main Milsim experience so far has been mirror events, and each one has felt more like a overglorified open play. And me having a military background, when I hear Milsim, I expect organization, missions, timing, scores. Like it comes with the title. Like if you're not gonna brush it all up, tone it back, and don't call it a milsim, call it a large open play experience. Like
the title that I have picked out, that is that when you hear someone say force on force event, that means expensive open play is what that translates to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
I like that. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, and I would still, even if they called it a force on force event with what they say, the quote unquote milsim rule set, I'd still spend the same amount of money to go to it, just because you don't get to go to those AOs on a regular basis.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like Cobra Airsoft Legion. Cobra, the guys who do like a lot of stuff up at Blast Camp and that, and they'll tell you, okay, this is a force on force event, and it's $40 for the day. Okay, it's a little more, it's $10 more than an open play, but they'll have some objectives here and there and a little bit of structure to it, but they just don't try to hide the open play aspect of it. It's just, hey, there's going to be a whole lot of people here wearing clothes that look kind of similar to each other, and we're going to shoot each other today. So
yeah. All right, so with that first topic out of the way, and that was a good one to start off tonight's discussion. It really was. It's going to lead into mine later, but we're going to lead to mine later. First, we're going to then hop over to our other new council member showing up tonight, Jason, Mr. Crazy Jason. What are you bringing to the table for us to talk about? What do you want to see change in Airsoft?
Me personally, the events I've been to is the one at Sheboygan Blacklist and Shadowlands. At least big events. I went to another one here locally, but the one thing I would like to see is maybe more of a standardized, like dual rating rule set for the weaponry, because it just seems to jump all over the place. Some places use joules, some places use FPS. It needs to be more standardized. That way, no matter where you go, you have an understanding of what you're getting into and the requirements for said weaponry.
Now, let me addendum this a little bit with a little bit more specifics. Would this be specifically for milsim events, or would this just be like a standard across the board?
Maybe per type of event. Like, say, if you have open play, have a more of a standard rule set. Milsims, a standard rule set.
Okay.
I know it would be difficult, but I'd like to see some change there, not where it's all over the board and you never know what's expected.
Okay.
And that's why you buy HPA. That's
We'll get into
literally
that one later.
that's
That's
why we
that's a
bought.
whole that's a whole nother discussion.
yeah.
Yeah.
AEGs.
I mean, I'm not gonna discount the HPA aspect of being able to just like quickly adjust on the fly, but that what you brought up is actually going to kind of lead into the next council episode. We'll get into this at the end of the episode on what we got coming up next because me and Cutter have a really good plan for our next episode. But I do and don't agree with that to a point. Like I like the idea of standardization. I think it should be across the board personally. Like I would rather like to see the base standard be Joule or FPS. The jumping back and forth between the American standard or like what the rest of the world does, that's what I want to see as a standard as it comes to like weapon platform systems and rules and stuff like that. Is I want them to distinctly go, we only do Joule, we only do FPS, one of those two.
The best fields that I've been to, and we've been to 30 different fields and events, and we'll knock a few more off the list this year.
Yeah.
The best ones all go on Joules, and they chrono you with the heaviest BB they allow at their field. And that always works very, very well.
That's one thing we kind of noticed when we were looking at our next Task Force Shrubbery event. A lot of the events we were looking at, they used joules, and it's measured with like a 0.32. So if they were to standardize at least the measurement process and weight of BB across the board, that would make a huge change because then everybody would know, hey, I got to go buy this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Outdoor, the most common thing, the common one we see for outdoor is 1.5 joules with a 0.32 for a rifleman outdoor. That is the most common across everywhere we've been. Some places, I've seen DMRs as high as like 2.4 and down to like 1.89. The other ones, they get real odd all over the place, but the 1.5 is one that we see very common, and that one's almost pretty much standard from what I can see.
And I have also seen that in looking at other rule sets. It's 1.5 with 0.32 measures, and that's for like milsims across the board. Open plays across different fields. Man, that's where I do agree with Jason of just like that's kind of crazy. Because the open plays across the board, it's blah, blah, everywhere.
You ever seen them where they have a different rating for AEG versus HPA?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah. Nashville has that. Nashville is 1.55 indoor no med with an AEG and 1.3 indoor no med with HPA. You get lit up with somebody buying AEG in Nashville and you're bleeding.
Wow.
The only thing I can figure
So my
on
guns
why
would be okay
they
there.
do
Okay,
that
cool.
is maybe Joule creep with the HPA.
Yes, that's what I think. But realistically, they say, okay, hey, 2.8 BBs, you shouldn't be using more than 2.8. And Jason, you've seen that one thing I showed you with you guys that night with my Wolverine. I mean, I went from 2.5s to 3.2s, same exact pressure, everything, and we were, I crept up 0.3 of a joule.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Ghost, you were trying to chime in with something?
I think one of the other issues with standardizing is you have to break it down into outdoor events or indoor events and all that too. I mean, it's going to be different comparing where you're at and what you're doing. That's where it's going to be very hard to standardize. I mean, mil sims is one thing, but open free play, as much as I'd like to see it standardized, the measuring rate, okay, yeah, we all agree, go to Joule. Yeah, we all get that. But to some fields, I get where the measurements are a little bit different than, say, another field. Just because you're outside doesn't mean you necessarily have range.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Florida, some of our outdoor fields aren't exactly big. I mean, it's old paintball fields that have been converted to airsoft fields. And that's where a rating, say, that's in the Midwest where you have a more open field, isn't going to necessarily apply here.
Yeah, and and for the couple fields that I have here, um, they're both outdoor, so it's
Mhm.
just kind of, and it feels like the bare standard to a point, except for DOA, they're weird. Um, but Central City, they do run by FPS with .20s for outdoor, and it's a 7 acre field.
They also have a 15-foot med at Central City.
Yep, yep, and it's it and I feel I understand why they do that because they want to make it feel they want it to be open to all ages available, like because I believe their minimum age is 12 or something. Um,
Okay. It's kind of
but
cool though.
yeah, it's and I get it, but at the same time, it just eh, it's outdoor.
Some of us want to shoot little kids
Yeah,
closer than 15 feet, though.
like
Welcome to the game.
but I know guys that go there that are regulars, and they have some of them have HPA'd um, sniper rifles, and they can shoot from one side of the field to the other accurately with their
Ouch.
minimums, and it's terrifying. Because it just makes me feel like, hey, that just it feels just a smidge unfair.
That's mhm.
But I do understand what you're saying, Ghost, with making the standardization between indoor and outdoor on the open play stuff a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, there could be the standardization of going to Jules and then literally indoor rule set, outdoor rule set.
Yeah.
Like it, but it's one of those things that I kind of go back and forth on. Also, it wildly varies if you're running a gas blowback, if you're running AEG, HPA, spring. Like that's also where the standardization could hit hiccups. Is
Gonna get so complicated.
yeah, because there's so many variables to take into account.
Yeah.
But it's an agree disagree.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I get the easier side of it to go, oh, well, every event I go to, I know it's going to be this standard. That's great. That's awesome. That would be great. But and then there's that reality world that creeps in that goes, that could be a really complicated
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly.
yeah. My thing is just some sort of standard where no matter where you go in the country, you know sort of what to expect. Whether it's everything measured by joules at such and such weight for indoor or outdoor, whatever, just something needs to change where it's not just all over the place.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. And I think a lot of that comes down to also communication by people holding events of getting this information out there, putting it on whatever site or Facebook post or social media that they're using to hold an event. Get the stuff out there. Let us know early so we can all rank. And a lot of them do a really good job at it. If you go and dig deep in it, I'm not discrediting anybody because I think it's a lot of the events like so far I've been into, like, say Shadowlands in South Carolina. Everything was very open, very clear from the beginning of buying the ticket of what you were allowed to play with when you got there and what
Not
was
getting
expected.
information emails 4 days before the event.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sorry, from an old military
I
guy. If you
copy
want to
and
talk about
paste.
something
I
that
mean,
I
yeah, from being in the
freaking
military, that actually
that gave
was
flashbacks, bro.
Milsim
That gave
getting
yeah,
getting it
that
last
felt
minute. But
way too real. It was
yeah,
like, oh,
Now,
exactly.
it's
now from
very
what I heard from the newer guys, they said if this was a real mill sim, that the real enlisted guys would be sitting here watching the contractors do the job.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have. Anyway, yeah, you're not wrong. But the technology at the last minute and that whole here you go, try this out. That was so accurate.
You
That
know,
was-
I I I'm gonna add to that the last minute communications, the last minute add to the to technology that like there were a few of us that were chatting in Discord going, man, when did I re-enlist?
Mhm,
Because it
yeah.
yeah, that was bone stock standard for military. That's how they operate. Everything's got
I
a
was
plan
so
until they don't.
I was so ready to land and my gear not show up with me because that would have gone to par with the whole military experience.
Oh no, that wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have wanted that because I'd have lost my shit.
Wait, you mean rescuing me from the flood wasn't like close enough to
Yeah,
military
right.
experience?
Oh,
You
yeah,
rescued somebody
we'd
from a
have
flooded
to,
river to
yeah.
go play a game, and you're gonna lose my bag.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But also,
Flying with your gear is a little nerve wracking too.
yeah. Oh, trust me. Next year, I'm going to be sweating bullets.
I've done it a few times. I can help guide you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Next November, when the next Task Force Shrubbery meetup, I'm going to be flying down to Iron Horse. So, that's just a lot of money to be like, okay, we're just gonna make sure that this shows up, and because I've been flying most of my life, so I've dealt with lost luggage. I've done all of that. So it's just, nah, that's money. That's a lot of my money.
If it
No, you
goes like it
register
did
it
for
that it
Ghost
is
and
a
I,
firearm.
yeah, if it went like it did for Ghost and I, we had it was great leaving from Tampa to Cincinnati and coming back. We had no issues. In fact, coming back, they're like, "Did you already check this in Tampa as a gun?" Yeah. Okay, then we just check it as luggage. What? Okay. And we gave
They
it to
were,
them, and they tossed it on the belt, and when we got to Tampa, you had to go
now,
over to a little office to get it, but
anybody watching that is planning on flying soon with these, I will give credit to one thing, Cutter, and you have to admit to this. Don't think you're going to call the TSA office at the
no,
airport and actually
just go.
speak to anybody to
Yeah.
find out any information. It is not going to happen.
No.
I mean, I even made a
It-
joke. I even made a joke to the TSA guy. Be like, "Yeah, we'd know what to do if somebody answered the phone." And he goes,
no.
"Yeah, that doesn't happen here." I'm like, "Oh, fantastic!" But we showed up, and
Jet
and they
Desert
like,
Fox.
you gotta have two locks. You gotta have two
Yep, we
locks.
now know
So
that.
listen up on that. And you got to put the little orange tag in it, and it says this is a gun. It's not a gun, but it says this is a gun. And then they just treat it like luggage. They're gonna scan it through a super X-ray machine anyway, and they're gonna see it. They're gonna see it's not a real gun when the X-rays go through it.
Mhm.
So
They
so
paid
it
No,
is
method
great
MC now.
laughs.
yeah. So
Yeah, they paid
it
some
doesn't
great
matter.
laughs. You're looking
Either
down at
way,
the
you can
case
ship a
and
gun.
back up.
You can go with a gun. So a fake gun doesn't mean anything to them. It's a toy.
Yeah.
So it was real simple. It wasn't that difficult, and I hope nobody else has any troubles with it. Just don't go looking like two private military contractors like Brian and I did walking into the Tampa airport with gun cases. I mean, we had eyes on us the second we walked in, but everybody was cool. It was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a Pelican case for that now, but my son and I just used a hard-sided suitcase and wrapped it in a towel and stuck the pillow in there. And I travel with a luggage scale and we were at 49.5 pounds and it worked out pretty well. But I bought a Pelican case Air and it's 15 pounds empty. And um, I travel for work doing storm restorations and stuff like that every now and then. So I wanted one anyway to be able to throw in the back of the pickup when I got to haul people and stuff. So, but that's the way to go. But they're not cheap to buy. It really
No.
was it took me a long time to buy one and stomach it. And I got some money from my in-laws for Christmas. And I was like, oh, okay, I can stomach this now.
I don't
But
have.
for flying, they're really nice.
I don't have a Pelican case, but I do have a Plano that is TSA approved and as essentially as close to a Pelican affordably that you can get.
As long as it
Yeah,
can be
the
locked in two
Pelican
places.
1626.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. The Pelican 1626 is the largest one you can buy that is TSA approved. It is a 59.5 cubic inches and theirs is 60. So that one's the biggest one you can buy. And the lid that goes in it is fantastic. Like the lid organizer is awesome.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
Bit the bullet this
And
last
Cutter,
year.
I forgot you're in Tampa now. You are literally at the gold standard of indoor airsoft, in my opinion. I love that place.
I actually just started working at CIA Competitive Indoor Airsoft as their AEG tech.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they are.
I'm going there
I love
Saturday to
that place.
I'm going there Saturday to introduce myself, and I've got a few of their rentals that I've worked on that I've already taken them, and I've got some more here that I got to take over.
Nice.
When you
But
talk to
yeah,
Otter, they're
yeah,
have you met
yep.
Otter, their head
No,
ref?
Otter and I talked. Last time I was there, Otter and I talked in the lobby for like 2 hours, And no,
Yeah,
the
telling
awesome
you know
people over
me
there.
too.
They got a great setup. I mean, I already know a bunch of guys over there. I mean, there's people that come in all the way from Orlando to play there,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's a couple fields south of there. Black Tiger Airsoft and DV8. DV8 is strictly milsim. I mean, if you show up in a dye mask with a HPA high kappa, that's not them. They're strictly milsim guys, like all the time. I mean, it's open play, but it's milsim open play.
Yeah.
So Black
Pretty
Tiger
loud.
gets the overrun of everybody that wants to load out however they want to load out.
Black Tiger on the same side's a pretty cool field too. I mean, you got it.
Yeah. Oh no, they're both
I've heard
awesome.
about that one.
Two-story complexes. It's nice.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's get back on topic here. Thank you, Jason, for that.
Sorry.
Wonderful. No, you're good. This happens almost every episode.
At work, we call that scope creep.
But Jason, that was also a very, very good one to bring up. So we're gonna jump down to Ghost over here. Ghost, what are you bringing for changes to Airsoft? What do you want to see?
I'm ready to see one of the big events make a real competition out of this. Not just a competition at one event, but a competition that is continuing throughout the year, where teams can start showing up at these events and competing against each other, not at just one event, but multiple events. So we actually have a season. We have something that we can show at the end of this. There's several companies out there. We got Milson West. We've got Mere Tactical. I mean, the list goes on of different companies that could set this up, where you now actually have teams that are showing up from all across the country to hit these events, say, as an example, like a NASCAR race, but Airsoft. Showing up, being able to put out, and at the end of the year, actually having a system where we show who won out a whole season. I think we're there. It's
AWA,
gonna make it
maybe?
sport.
Anybody done a KWA Tactical League yet?
I've looked into it. The only thing I don't like about the whole KWA Tactical League is the paintball uniform influence.
You mean the easy on face protection that keeps your moneymaker looking like this?
I like the idea of the KWA Tactical League, but what Ghost is leaning more into is I think it would showcase more of a wide breadth of the spectrum across Airsoft between Milsim, Speedsoft, and all that jazz, and everybody comes in to that one annual thing. If I'm picking up what you're putting down on that, Ghost.
Sort of more like, okay, we just did OP Blacklist. You have number ratings on who won that at OP Blacklist. It breaks down where the teams broke down at the end of the day. And then you go to your next event. Those points keep getting kept throughout the season. And at the end of the season, you actually have the ability to say, okay, say the Nomads came out top of that season. They're number one. They actually have that ability to say they were number one in this league, an actual league at the end of the year. But a league that's going to different places throughout the country.
Okay.
And that's something I would chase, and our squad would as well. I mean,
Yeah.
we love that aspect of it because we also have speed softers. So
yeah, you're bringing your boys together to go, no, now it's time for us to show up. And we could do it in different cool venues across the country.
Yeah, I actually approve of this message. I would love to see that, and like Odin just said, I would also chase after that. I would follow the league games all over the country. I really would, and I would love to see that because also it would bring something like that would bring more national attention.
Yeah,
as well.
Well, it's finally organizing us. It's pushing it to a real competitive level, and I'm sorry, I like to compete. I know there's guys out there that are like, no, I like to go play. Well, there's places for that. There's open play. But I'm ready for a place where I can really compete and show off and push this. I'm sorry, competing, in my opinion, makes you better. Competition makes better players.
Yeah.
And I want to play with the best. I want to play with the guys that are 10 times better than me because steel sharpens steel. And like you look at the SoCal Speedsoft team and playing at N1 and Tac City and that, And then those guys come here to the Midwest and play or go out east and play, and they're usually extremely dominant because steel sharpens steel. Those guys are the best and they're playing against the best. And it's it is because of that. Like you get a guy that's been playing, at N1 every weekend for a year and comes here and will just dust most people because they are
Yeah.
so good. I mean, the talent when we went to Vegas, it was mostly all SoCal guys. Like we played against Biohazard Airsoft. Like there's some guys on there that play for LTD Speedsoft. They're the best team in the world, and they were incredible and they were humble and fun. And I got into a snapshot battle with one of them. I challenged a guy down the hallway to a snapshot battle, and guess what? I picked the guy that plays for LTD. I lost that one quickly.
But
you're right. You can't get better just shooting teenage birthday parties in a local field. You can't. That's not going to make you
I
better.
want to push you.
There's been multiple times I've literally seen somebody just standing out, no, out of cover, nothing, and I'm like, this is almost too easy. But he's got to learn. Whap whap, get under cover, dude.
Charlie horse. Oh god, sorry.
I want to play the best. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I want to get better. And the only way that's going to be there is if I catch one. If I'm playing somebody, it's pushing me to be better every time I walk out that door. And I'm ready for that league. I know it can happen. It's just a matter of time of one of these big companies to go, you know what? Let's start keeping points. Let's start organizing.
Figure out a way to use what's the system like they have down at Tampa Bay or at CIA Tampa, the skirmish.
Scrimmage
The
system.
skirmish system.
Yeah.
I've played with that in Oregon and I think that's cool. There is a way, and I guarantee there is a way to incorporate that into MilSim, objective-based play,
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. And I thought that system was awesome. We played with it 2 nights in a row in Portland last summer, and it was a blast. We had so much fun because they had objectives that they used it. You had to get to this point and control it with that. And like at CIA Tampa, I always joke like the ceiling talks to you. Like they can do this kind of stuff. It's as
amazing.
much money as these places get, they can do it.
Oh yeah, you're right. CIA can get
they're open
immersed.
6-7 days a week. I mean, they because there's constantly people that want to come into play. Every time
Imagine if all of a sudden now that's getting where it's that kind of technology is being used in a league. You're going to have the best showing up. I mean, not to be cheesy, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they'll come. Also, when you got a league and we can all go up against each other and actually push it, and you have that kind of technology keeping the track of the points, I'll see you there, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I don't. With everybody having cell phones nowadays, it wouldn't be hard for everybody to have an app on their phone that tracked where they were on the field for individual events or even single day gameplay. I mean, definitely wrap it up, protect your, put it inside your plate carrier, protect your phone. But if that app is running, and you're signed into that local field's Wi-Fi or whatever, then they can track things like that, and it would be easier to know what even individuals did, not just teams.
Yeah.
But that's something that could be built and talked about for days.
CIA's already showing us the text there, Cutter. I mean, you run in, you hit the button, you hold it for a few seconds, it switches over to your side. After a few seconds of that, it starts counting points. There's already systems set up to do it. It's just a matter of getting one of these companies that's holding events at the Asylum, or they're holding events like outside of Savannah, Georgia, and they're doing these places to go, you know what, we're going to start keeping track through the whole year. We're going to set this league up. And I'm telling you, I think people will start showing up to play at that point.
Yeah, 100%. And
Maybe I can tell you what will happen.
Sorry for dipping
Yeah,
off
if you
camera
can
for a
check
second,
it throughout the year to see where your team throughout the country is going, because like Squirrel Team 6 has people all over the country, and not everybody from Squirrel Team 6 will be able to go to every event. But if we represented an event, then we get some points for our team, so that at the end of each quarter or the end of the year, you can be looking as you go to see, hey, we've gone to this event, this event, and this event, and our team got points here, here, and here. So we're ranked 14th in the country out of teams that have gone to events and taken objectives and won, blah, blah, And again, it's mostly bragging rights, but there's if you could find some way to make money at it, then it could then yeah. If you could find somebody that knew they could make money at it, it'd get done.
Well,
eventually you'll see. There are ways. I don't want to jump into this and get that whole rabbit hole, but there are ways for teams to make money down the road if you came up with an actual league.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not. And with Squirrel Team 6, as Cutter was saying, we're all over the country. But Sheboygan Blacklist this year, this was the first time that Squirrel Team 6, like pretty much as a whole minus a few members, was actually in one location at one time. I will never claim that we're like a professional airsoft league team, but with the way that we ran, I felt that we were definitely pushing
I don't
that
know,
card.
Sheboygan, we look pretty good.
Well, I felt that
Yeah, you guys did.
we were pushing that card of like we were trying to be the best. We were trying to show out. We were trying to do everything as possible to make this as hard for Tan Team to win as possible because they weren't going to win. Period.
You guys were making a conscious effort to do tactical things. I watched you guys from behind a couple times clearing a hallway. You know, it wasn't just a bunch of guys walking down the hallway. It was guys, you know, methodically dipping into rooms, you know, checking their deep corner, somebody having their back. Guys weren't just looking straight down the hallway. I mean, you guys were doing it right. I mean, like the good high level teams, the guys I always think about when I think of this is Warcom, who played on our side, Hunter Albrecht and his guys.
Yeah.
Those guys are just nasty to play against because Hunter is one of the best airsofters I've ever played against in my life. And as far as like a non-speed soft player, he's the best one I've played against. And it's because he does tactical things. I mean, he's on a sheriff group or something like that. He speaks fluent Russian. Like this dude he's the real deal. And you know, the kids that play with him follow and they rank and file and do exactly what they need to do. And you guys look no different than them from behind. Probably a little less serious as Hunter. Hunter's very serious guy.
I've seen some of his videos online. Hunter, if you catch this, much respect. I hope to go up against you at some point out there just to see how
it's not fun.
We
became friends with them and started playing with them.
Not against.
Well, yes, and the thing on why we're not so serious is for us with Squirrel Team 6, a large chunk of us are veterans, so we run it like a unit, and it just makes it flow. But the reason why we cut the seriousness back is I've been to enough events already where the people that take it overly serious and they're constantly barking at people, and airsoft isn't just a bunch of like former military people, and barking orders at everybody kind of is like, for me personally, without cutting any bones about it, it makes me want to look at you in the face and tell you to get fucked. Because there's no reason to be barking orders like you're in a real battlefield.
So you really feel
it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it is a competition, it is intense, but at the same time, you can still bring intensity without seeming like an asshole.
Calm down, friend.
You're an airsofter, not a drill sergeant.
And
the toy gun tough guy.
Yeah,
tough guy.
That's what it really comes down to. I like that. I like that a lot. Toy gun tough guy. And that's what it really boils down to. Because like, even yes, in the military, on deployments, in actual combat zones, that intensity is required because it's literally life and death.
Yeah.
But in an airsoft game,
this is a game.
It's always the guys that are like that. The guys that are like that, though, if you notice, aren't the ones who served.
Yeah, 100%.
Like the guys who served have been there, they've done it. I never served, I never went to the military, and I've never had any desire to. I have all the respect in the world for anybody who does. But there's a difference. It's like these guys that are out there screaming, yelling at each other. It's like they were the fastest kids in third grade, and that just never left them. They got that moniker still hanging on their
participation award.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I was the toughest guy in gym class. Well, cool, man. That and 50 cents will get you a can of pop on the machine.
Yeah.
Well, you can definitely tell it because, like, most veteran guys will tell you, and you can tell it with even Squirrel Team 6, when it came time and we were working all this, we got serious. When it came time to do play, we kicked into that level we needed to be at. But when we're back hanging out, there's no reason to. No, we're gonna be the most fun guys that, chilling, relaxing, making fun of each other individuals you're gonna be. I mean, we
were joking over comms, so it wasn't.
And
Jason was joking over an FM radio.
yeah.
Oh
No, I
But
think
man,
that was something else joking with me.
but
I'll never forget coming around your side and hearing Taylor Swift coming out your cans. I will not. Got bad blood.
Jason, what are you
What
listening
the?
to? I can't control
but
it.
where
I
And,
hear
and
all
my
the way
screen
down the
had the
hallway.
radio channel on it. It
but
had our team channel on the screen.
but
Absolutely hilarious. I walk around a corner and I hear from the other end of the hallway, that
but I you know and with the having the over seriousness with like a league competition style things, also with how many people saw that we knew what we were doing, and I've even seen this. I now saw this with Blacklist this year with seeing other people's videos where they literally followed us. The barking orders thing gets more people to follow. Like you can,
I like the one
well, the
dude.
barking order, the not barking orders things gets more people to follow because it's like, yeah, they know what they're doing, but they're not being dicks about it. Like it's
You can command without having to bark
Telling a
at all.
plan firmly, not
Yes.
barking orders.
yes, and
Well,
also
again,
there's a difference between barking and speaking in a tone loud enough for everybody to hear you.
Yeah,
You
grenades
get-
going off,
you get
echoey
people
hallway.
Yeah.
I think
We
the
were
Yeah,
best was
Noah's
the
got
video.
a video.
There was a guy
What?
that had a video. He was behind us in the hallway. We were stairwell, and it was us going up the stairwell.
You, Jason, you are cutting out.
I think the key with following and working out there, especially with other teams that we don't know, like when we worked with Nomads and other groups, and I loved it with the Nomads because there was several times you guys looked over and said something to me. There's a difference between being told something and being an order barked at me. There's a difference between commanding and screaming. And I think we all kind of realize that because there's no reason to scream at anybody. That's not as much as the movies portray it is that way and things are like that. The only reason you're loud in the real stuff is so you can be heard. I mean, it's kind of hard to be able to be heard over 16 M4s going off at the same time. That's reality.
Yeah. Yeah. But Ghost, very good point that you brought up. I like the league, the traveling league tracking across different events. I would love to see that myself as well. And like Odin said, he would chase that. I guarantee Jason would chase that and Cutter would chase that. Like it would be one of the things that would become a that would also help standardize, like Jason was saying, standardize across the board as well.
See, and I could
There's
run
other
something like
Airsoft
this. I'm
Hall
just
of
not
Fame.
independently wealthy.
Yeah, that's the other thing is money.
Like I was supposed to say,
Yeah.
if there's ever an Airsoft Hall of Fame after this moment, remember me at this moment that I said it. It was time for it to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, with that one being said, we're moving on to the next one. Cutter, what do you got, buddy? What do you got, my
Mine
illustrious
kind of
co-host?
encompasses as everybody was talking. I was like, and then Jason, but then go and mine actually kind of breaks down into all of those, and it was a standardized set of rules across the board that if you open an airsoft field in Oregon, Kansas, or Florida, it'll have the same rules at it if somebody from Florida goes to the one in Kansas or somebody in Kansas goes to the one in Oregon. And just a standardized set of rules for America across the board. I mean, we have certain laws in the United States, and some states have different laws, and follow your local statutes. Don't break any laws to play airsoft. But if the United States had one set of rules for like Jason was talking, jewel limit, and just basically everything's set like that. I mean, we had talked before about an age limit, and that could be considered a rule, but not an age limit so much as you can't play, but you don't want a bunch of young teenagers in a birthday party matched up with a whole bunch of like professional milsim teams. They're just going to get torn apart. That's not fair. Put it class to class, put it group to group, and make it fair across the board for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if everybody had a set of rules, almost a doctrine, and if the first people that got together and got something like that together was the milsim companies like milsim West and Mir Tactical and Striker and all the other one the bigger ones, veterans from Airsoft. They're the bigger ones that put it together. If they all got their heads together and put together one set of rules and then maybe put out a web page and then threw it out on Discord about the web page, it would go through like wildfire of everybody to kind of vote on the rules. Like you sign in and you vote on the rules, and it would also help if everybody, like, I don't know, joined one big airsoft league like Brian was saying, and then you're already signed in with your waiver in Oregon or Kansas or Florida because
Sounds
it's
like
an
a
across
governing
the board.
body.
Yeah, almost. I mean, yeah, like you said, it'd be tough to do because we're not independently wealthy. But
Yeah.
if you got a group enough people together that it could possibly get, I don't know. I mean, look to some of the gun manufacturers that want to grow the sport more in the United States and see if they want to pitch in a little bit on a coordinated effort to get something like that together so that everybody has the same set of rules. Everybody knows that it's this joule limit for outdoor, this joule limit for indoor, this joule limit for mil sims, and this joule limit for CQB competitions where it's the 5 against 5 teams, you know, and you have all that set so that no matter where anybody goes, everybody knows the rules. It's the same for everybody. And it would just,
The
I
problem
think it
is,
would
so
just
I'm
make
a
it would make it simpler. It would simplify it. Because then Jason said, you know, you're going from field to field, having to reset your HPA tank to a different pressure, or you're having to put a different spring in your gun because that field, oh, it's got to be below 350. We don't want anybody getting hurt, you know, maybe for insurance purposes. And then if all those groups got together, I bet they could all get together on a almost a group insurance for all new fields that open. Put all fields under one big umbrella insurance liability company so that everybody's not spending as much. Almost like I don't want to say an airsoft union, but kind of.
Okay. Yep.
it would be an
And just
association. It would be just like an AMA for the motorcycles, or I came from
right.
I also disc golf, like a professional disc golf association,
Exactly.
USA Hockey. It would be
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
there's
it
a
it
the
it'd be like,
problem is
oh, go for it.
Go
the
ahead.
problem that I see is though, because I would say an extremely avid Speedsoft watcher, speed play. I find it to be the most exciting form of the sport to watch and play. And
Oh yeah, flying
but
around, sliding across the floor.
I yeah, there's 4 or 5 different um, tournament or leagues. You've got Speed QB, CSL, NSL, SXL, and there's a couple other ones too. I can't remember the names of. But then they all are the best. They all know more than the other one. They all, started their style and that. And at the end of the day, it's taking guys out and touching a flag or doing something at the other end of the field. And they each have their own place, and trying to get those many, just even those guys to try to come together under one flag would be nearly impossible. But then you've got these you've got these milsim promoters who are making substantial amounts of money from milsim,
Mm-hmm.
and selling grenades and ammo and this and that. To try to get those guys to come up with it, and think they're going to lose 16 cents out of every dollar, or something like that, that would be a tough situation. Ideally, it would be awesome, but I think it would have, you'd have to start it
Yeah,
from an
it
insurance
would have
or
to start small with just like Jason was saying, standardized joule limits on BBs. Can everybody agree on that? Because if you slowly agree with one thing, then you can slowly agree on a bunch of other things, and then when they all get agreed upon, that's a set of rules. And then if
Yep.
everybody uses those,
yeah,
it also makes it easier if somebody wants. Let's say somebody played airsoft, they've gone to a couple mil sims, and they happen to have a farm field, and they go, you know what? My local area doesn't have an airsoft field and I want to open one. How would I possibly go about doing that? And they got to dig all this stuff up themselves and go all these places. Well, what if they had one centralized place that they went to? And he said, hey, I want to open up a field. What do I need? Oh, here's a number for the insurance. Here's a set of rules. This is what you need to set up your chrono station like. This is what you need to set up this like. And if you're going to have any milsims out there, here's a set of rules for those. So they know, everybody knows, because it's all the same. If it could all get standard, and I know that's a huge monumental thing, just to get everybody to agree on a joule limit
Yeah.
over FPS would be a fight from
And,
state to state.
And Cutter,
What have they done in paintball? We often look at paintball. Have they done anything like this in paintball? Because it tends that we follow in right behind them.
I,
You know, it's kind of
No, airsoft needs to can make its own waves and make its own path doing its
I
own
think
thing.
many people need to
It's
learn from paintball because paintball
yeah,
didn't
that's what I'm saying.
standardize. But
Mhm.
paintball broke off into several different companies. Like you were saying earlier, you have several different speedsoft companies that leagues that are set up already currently. And the problem was they never really went to a whole national, then maybe even international level where they could have brought, hey, you guys do your thing over here, but we're making something where the teams actually want to come play for us in different locations and bring the fan base to it. Unfortunately, they never really did that. Like they were about to break into it, I think, in paintball, but then the fad faded. I think
I mean,
that's something that
you have
Airsoft
to,
can
you'd
learn
have
from
to.
here is we've got to eventually go, you know what? There's an NFL for a reason. There's an NHL for a reason. There's that level of professionalism for a reason so we can get to that higher level of play.
Yes.
And somebody's going to have to create that league to do it, though.
Yeah,
It's going
I think if you could
to be
find
a sport.
somebody that could sponsor a conference and you invite all those different companies and all those different teams or heads of their organization to one conference in one place and say, look, this is what we're trying to get together, and we want to get everybody on board for the betterment of all of us and the betterment of our sport and hobby. That's that you
Now,
said. What do I want to see change in airsoft? I want to see it get bigger,
and
and this is how it's going to happen. I mean, it's nice to have the Saturday pickup games at the local fields, and the local fields are awesome.
now,
Okay, and it's nice to have mill sims to go to that are put together by small groups in small part, in individual parts of the country. But if all that conglomerated together into one thing, it would get, I think, even bigger. And it would help the sport grow. Get it more. You also get it more in a public light.
yeah, and I
Maybe. I
I
mean,
I
it's
I wholeheartedly agree, but I think the best way that that would end up being ran out, which with you bringing this up, Cutter, we've already discussed this. This is going to be the discussion for the next episode of the Council of Airsoft Dudes. Is Cutter and
right.
I?
That's why I'm kind of pulling back from it. It's one of those things you could talk about for
Mhm.
days.
Yep, and Cutter and I, for everybody out there, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna come up with, and this is the way that I see that it would work best. We would have it would have to divide into 3 rule sets because there are 3 main sets of airsoft play, and this is why it would become really complicated. But at the end, if everybody can come to an agreement, it would work. There would be speed QB standardization, milsim standardization, and open play standardization. It would literally be spread across 3 different ones. So it would be like if you have a field that's geared towards speed QBs, they go off the speed QB set. If you got the milsim events, they would have the milsim things. And open
Yep,
plays would
exactly,
just be
exactly.
across the board every Saturday, Sunday, whatever days that they do their open plays. That would be the one where, like you were saying, this is your insurance, this is how you set up a field, this is this. And then if you want to get into the nitty gritty of specifics, that's where you get into your different categories. But this is something that we're going to do on the next council, where Cutter and I are going to sit down, and I think for that episode we're going to focus on the open play rule set. Because that's going to be the most
How do you win
board.
the open play though? That's what you're going to get asked. How do we win the open play?
Yeah.
Yep, and that's where the open plays are essentially like your pickup games, where it will get we're gonna get it kind of knuckled down. We're gonna discuss it.
Yeah, because the
Yeah, I think in the
boys,
standard rule set, kids under 18 should get a gas mag pistol with 1 magazine, and they earn more magazines, and they only get so many BBs, and then they earn their trust on the way up. Given a 17-year-old kid with a BDU top on and a dye mask, a high cap mag and a HK 416 is the worst thing you can do. The panda culture is terrible, and I can go on for hours and
Cutter,
hours
you want
about
me to
those little
walk up and
turds.
go, here you go, Pride. Go stand over here.
Yep, I think they all ought to get springers or a single gas mag with a kappa or something like that. Let them learn to play the game instead of just running around and pre-fire in every doorway and hoping they hit something.
Yeah, and that I think that would also help them, instead of like hopping into all these retailer streams and whatnot. and just be like, "Hey, shop for me. What should I buy?" No, you start here. Which I actually that's I like that. That's a really good idea.
If we're gonna go that route, let's just give them all M4 Garands. You know, let them go out there with a standardized rifle and see what they can do.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I've played with some of my one boy here, Matthew. He is a dead shot. He is an absolute dead shot. With any gun you put in his hand, he figures it out. And because anytime we're jacking around at spawn at an indoor or something like that, we're always trying to shoot something. And I swear to God, he can throw BBs up in the air and hit them.
But Cutter, I like your bring up point on the change in airsoft, and like I said, that will lead into next month's episode of the council, where we're gonna discuss a standardized rule set. Like I said, we're gonna sit down. We're gonna come up with like It's not. I'm not saying that we're gonna get into every single little tiny detail, but we're gonna kind of get across the brush basics. Because if we went down into every single detail, it's gonna be like a 4-hour long episode.
Days long.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. But we will get into that discussion on the next episode a little bit deeper. Now, moving on to my little blurb that I wanted to throw in here.
Here we go.
And some of you have heard this already. I specifically, this is also coming from the, like I said earlier, when I hear Milsim, there's a certain thing in my veteran brain that goes click. So, change I actually would like to see in Milsim specifically. We've talked about Milsims a lot tonight already, but Milsim, military simulation, which means you were supposed to bring it to the most realistic table ever. I think HPA should not be allowed in Milsims. Because you are literally taking
All right,
away.
talk to you guys later.
I'm not specifically dogging on HPA because, you know, people cheat with HPA, blah 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 blah. It hurts more. No, it's none of that. Specifically with Milsims, I think that HPA takes out that edge of realism because, like I said, with Milsim, my veteran brain just kind of clicks of, okay, we're going into a theater where it's an event where we're going to make this as real as possible. And HPA, having a tank and a line running to a weapon doesn't exist, except in the case of where if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of belt-fed style weapons. But I think it would just bring up that edge and challenge a little bit more, even for everybody else of like, okay, I'm limited now. That's just me, and everybody's gonna pick and choose on that. I've had some people agree with me on the aspect of that, and I've had a lot of people disagree with me because, like you just did, Odin, later. Bye, because I know you run HPA a lot.
No, and I have AEGs. Actually, we have an AEG that I built for that mall sim out in Vegas because that was AEG only. I mean, you can build an AEG to perform extremely well now. It's just noisier is all it is. I just find them annoying more than anything, and the maintenance sucks. My Polar Star F2, I take it down once a year, change the seals in it, put it back together, and it's good to go for another year. But now, what do you say about the like the Wolverine Unleashed or the UGS stock from Polar Star?
That
no line
right there. And Casper just mentioned that too. That would be the exception with HPA. It would have to be the inline stock tank if you ran HPA.
And they are nice. They're cool. Like especially HK Army's making a 15 CI 4500 capable tank that will fit on the back of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever shot an Unleashed. They're crisp. They are really nice. There's something about not having that line in there. Like They're snappy. Cody has one on my team. Logan has one on my team. I don't know if any of you guys got to see it or not, but some guy actually said to Cody on the front side of the asylum, he's like, hey, it's like, man, that's a really nice gun. That thing sounds snappy. He says, well, I'll let you shoot it if you shoot your own teammates. Cody revived the guy on tan. The guy shoots like 7 of his own teammates with it. And then Cody pops him with his pistol to kill him back again and takes his gun back. I was upstairs and there's a whole gaggle of guys up against the window laughing hysterically. Hey, teammates. It turns out it was Cody.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yes, but those have been real good. They've been really, really good guns, and I can see that though. I do. I can agree with that. I know there's some guys that are gas mag like junkies, like even in the speed soft world, they
yeah,
are green gas mags only, and that's what they want to run.
yeah,
I
yeah.
could go with that as long as we agree that no lines. I agree with that and caps on max. It drives me nuts when they call it a milsim and dudes are walking out with infinite ammunition. If you're really gonna go milsim,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta limit how many
Mm-hmm.
rounds you have. I mean, that is the reality of carrying more magazines. I know it sucks. I know it's heavy. Welcome to reality.
Yeah, and you know what? It's and there are rule sets where they put caps on how many mags you can carry as well. With
Yes.
like Milsim West and I know with us going to an American Milsim event, they have caps on different weapon systems with mags. Um, and like standard riflemen, you're capped at 7 mags, and some people might go, "Well, that's very realistic. A combat load is 7 magazines. Period.
Yeah.
You don't carry
And it
any more than
depends
that."
on
Yeah, but
what
can you
tier
carry
of
a
the
speed loader?
milsim it is too.
I'm sorry. What was that, Odin?
I would
Can you
I would
carry a
say
speed loader with you in those?
No, you cannot reload during. Now at I know at American Milsim, you are not allowed to reload in game. You have to go back to spawn or a mobile spawn point to
I get
reload.
shot enough. I'm back at spawn all the time. I don't think that would be an issue.
And I like that because
Same.
I mean, when people are like, "Really?" I'm like, "Dude, in a real military situation, you're not carrying loose rounds in your bag that you're
Nope.
just gonna reach down there and start popping into the magazine. That's not how shit works, bro.
No,
It is better that way."
but and
See, and like I
for
said, I'm not into the military side of it. I like the gunfight side of it. It just
yeah.
happens that, well, to do that, I have to wear camouflage, and
Well,
so um,
and and to everybody who would go, well, they don't, everybody is like, the military, the capping mags at like 30 rounds, it's not readily available. Oh, yes, it is.
Poor
I
yeah,
excuse.
I agree with that though. I can see that because I mean I've got a Polar Star F2 in mine. My son's speed build and my SIG that I carry every day have the exact same trigger board, the exact same rifle. I mean they're
Yeah.
they're just a different skin on what you have on it, and I can rattle off 13 rounds a second with my finger. So
yep,
is that very militant? No, no, it's really not.
yeah,
And that SIG is nasty.
yeah.
I love it.
But it's just one of those things of, like I said, military. When you say military simulation, that's where I'm like, okay, cool. It's limit mags, no line, like no exterior line HPAs. Like I kind of think that it would just bring that edge of challenge, even to HPA players, that would make it just a little bit more interesting. And like Ghosts caveated with real cap mags at, like, if you have a box mag, yes, you can carry a couple thousand rounds, but
Yeah, it's realistic.
because a real 249, you one box mag is 200 rounds. So but I just think it just would bring that edge of like that, bringing up how we've always been saying tonight, bringing that level up. It just brings it up to that next level of competition.
You got to make shots count then, and
Yep.
I'm sorry, cheating is rampant in milsim. I've played indoor all over the place. I have played outdoors. I have played milsim, and coming up on the 17th, I'll actually be on a team for SXL in Indianapolis for speed. But I can tell you right now, milsim is the worst cheating culture by far. Like
Yeah.
it is absolutely the worst. And I think part of it too is that I see cheating the worst in it when you have big long walks back to spawn and one life. Um, just an observation, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no
Uh,
problem going back to spawn. That's where the chair was.
but I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, we got.
I can also add caveat to the whole change I would like to milsim is it's also gun hits don't count, but they disable your weapon until you go back to spawn, and you can't just dip back to spawn to get your weapon back.
I just had this discussion with someone about Speedsoft because it's the only place that I know of that consistently calls gun hits, and the likelihood of you hearing a gun hit during a speed match is none. If you
Mm-hmm.
see it, it's going to be extremely lucky. But if somebody shoots your gun and pulls tape of them shooting your gun and you not calling it, you got a penalty and possibly can get DQ'd from tournaments and stuff like that. It's like,
Wow.
if this isn't paintball, like
No.
paintball, hits your gun. Like you come on the floor with a clean gun, and if it gets hit, most likely, not all the time, but yeah, I don't agree with gun hits counting uh in there. I can't take off my gun. I'm gonna have my gun with me. If I'm not feeling shots or whatever, I can take off a plate carrier. Whatever. I can take off. A lot of the gear that you feel or that may cause you not to feel shots. But
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where it's like I don't think gun hits should count.
Yeah. No. And I haven't been to an event yet, or heard of one that I've planned on going to where gun hits count, except for like open play days, which I still think even at open play, gun hits counting is kind of ridiculous. Um,
Well, the hard part with that is how are you even policing that? How are you getting enough admins on the field to count every gun hit
mm-hmm.
You're
in open player
So if
milsim
it,
event?
if it gets seen,
Yeah, that's the. I mean, it's like when people ask me about arm
take
or
the hit.
leg hits or limb hits, and they're like, "Do you think they should count?" I'm like, "Well, they count as a hit." No, do you think they should still be able to fire? Wow, Superman, you got some big balls. If we're playing real gunshots here, and you took one to the leg, you think you got enough to keep putting rounds down range? I'm impressed because I'm gonna scream like a little baby. I've been shot. That's the reality.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where I think it's also another aspect of, you know, honor in the game as well as just like, if you get a gun hit, yeah, cool, that weapon system is down until you go back to spawn. And no, there's just no, oh, I'm hit because my gun's down. No, you run your sidearm until you're done, like, or you keep going until you run out of ammo. Like, it's one of those things where I think it's another elevation of experience, because in real life, if your weapon gets hit, it's not gonna work.
Depending where it gets hit
Yeah,
at, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but for
it's so hard to police that though. Like
mm-hmm.
yeah,
I'd love
it's
to
so
have a
hard.
perfect world where people would do that and be like, "Oh, weapons malfunction," and go to their secondary. It'd be great, but dude, I have enough problems getting some people, as I've had in one event where I had a guy just kept having to hit in the side of his head with his helmet till I almost knocked it off because he didn't want to call his hits.
Mm-hmm.
I
I mean,
I
I'm not
hate
expecting.
helmets in the game
Oh,
Yeah,
for that reason. Absolutely hate helmets in the game.
My thing on that though is if they take a helmet hit and they don't call it, they're not using their ears because you can hear it.
yeah,
You hear
even
it hit your
Oh
helmet.
oh
even
yeah. There's no
even
way
with
you can't hear it bounce off.
even with wearing
Like
like,
it's like wearing a pot and somebody hitting it with a spoon. Don't tell me you can't hear that. Tack, 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 tack.
well,
You know,
Well, the
even
helmet's
it
starting to
is
jerk to the side of the head every couple hits.
it is
but
the most egregious thing we have found throughout all of our plays and events and everything is shots to the helmet are the most cheated shot in airsoft. And I will
Way the
stand by
bullshit.
that.
Yeah, I don't. People are like, you don't go for headshots. No, I try not to. I mean, it's just not worth it.
no, it's not.
No, if
But
they're wearing.
I can say even wearing cans, I can still hear helmet hits because that thing
Oh
just
yeah,
Because your
rains.
cans are
wind.
attached to it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's that, but it's also like pass through noise, whatever. But it's that's I think that is one of the most notable hits I ever get is the helmet hits. Like it's just like okay, hit.
Yeah,
I don't.
and I wear a bump cap under my ball cap, and
Mm.
yeah, it's just plastic in there, and it takes the sting out of the BB, and yeah, you can hear it. I mean, they're plain as day. You can hear the damn thing. No different than hitting me in the mask. I wear a dye mask or a JT mask because it's easy to get on, easy to get off, comfortable, and I don't want to lose any teeth or anything. And
Yeah.
I married way over my head, so I got to try to stay looking at least this decent, So uh, I but I can feel it. Like you get hit in the face with your dye mask on or whatever, it sprays humidity all over your precipitation from your breath. It pops it all over your face. Feel like you got hit with a gel ball if you've been playing for any amount of time. So and when people say, "Oh, I can't feel that," yeah, you can feel it with a helmet on. I know you can, but you got talking Shadow
Tears
about
your mask off for
the
a
helmet
second,
or
right?
headshots. Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, but you were talking about like
Oh,
headshots, and I
thanks.
got yelled
I can
at in
see.
Sheboygan. Yeah. But I got yelled at in Sheboygan for shooting a guy in the face. He yelled at me for shooting him in the face. He stuck his face around a corner and I shot him in it. Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
shoot what you have
I,
sticking out.
I got
If
I
you
got
don't
shot
want
in
to
the
get
face
shot in
because
the
that's
face,
what I
cover it.
that's what I put around the corner. The guy shot. The
Yeah.
BB hit me in the face.
Yeah.
But I mean, you signed the waiver. You know the game you're playing.
Oh, don't
I
get me
wear a,
started on
I wear a
people
cut.
signing a waiver
like
and knowing the game they play. Some people just want to come out and complain. I sat on that roof. They literally sent up 2 judges separate times to chrono my rifle because they thought I was pushing too far to be able to hit them like that down on the grass. Both times, those refs walked away laughing their ass off. Go have fun. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the
No,
game,
it's
bro.
just a good seal and a good built gun. I mean, how many guys did you see there though? And Cutter, you can see this like I do. I check a lot of stuff here. I'm not a professional like you are, but I check a lot of stuff here. How many times do you see guys running around with just crappy, $200 AEGs at the mill sim, and then they're yelling at you why you're not calling something? It's like, dude, because you're falling 40 foot shorter than I am. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
I
doing
can
my
see
stuff
where your
here,
BBs are going yoink, and you think they're going farther
Yeah,
than that. You're like, you're not calling your
yeah.
hits. It's like, no, because my gun can outdistance yours. Whack. That's why you just got hit and I didn't. And
Yeah, and they think, well, you're hitting me, I should hit you. It's like, no, that's not how it goes.
no, you don't have my gun, bro. You don't. you just got
I
that thing out of the box and threw a battery in it, and you expect it to outdistance my gun? No, that's not happening. And I'm not just saying my gun. I'm saying other guys have tech guns
Yeah, oh
that
man.
are just going to blow away stuff out of the box. And the guys that just bought it out of the box and brought it to the mill sim, and they're like, why isn't mine shooting as good as his? Because yours doesn't have another $400 into it.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
I mean,
And actually, I'm gonna address a question that just popped up in the chat real quick here from Lady Keo. Is it normal for people to not have any protection on their face at these events? Yes, and I think they're stupid because
Oh,
airsoft replicas can shoot out teeth very easily.
Saw it happen. I've seen
Somebody
it happen. Firsthand.
like somebody who does not have any sort of face protection, I don't even really give you kudos. It's just like you really just want to risk that, like
Hunter Albrecht. That's how his happened.
and
yeah.
I wear my balaclava, but the lower face thing I did take off. I'll admit I probably should have had on. But the one place I did get hit was the cheek, which would have been above that face mask anyway.
yeah,
So
and
People
I've
say I
been
think
I've been
equipment
shot in the
issues
face,
happen too.
and I've been shot in the face wearing face protection many times, and even with face protection, it doesn't cover everything. It still hurts.
yeah. So.
But it's one of those things where I've seen guys at previous events, they decide to not run face protection, but they run a mouth guard. That smart. Like it's most of the face protection in airsoft is there to protect your teeth because dental work is not cheap.
No.
And I will
Look
say,
what
even
happened with
like
the young one.
if you're looking at the video, you see actually me quite a bit without face protection throughout this event. I had a malfunction with equipment. That's why I had to pull my face mask off. I had fog really bad. And one of the biggest, most scary things to happen in an airsoft event is something to go on with your eye protection. you cannot really do anything to help or adjust it in the middle of that area. You can't take it off. You can't do nothing. If you do, everything stops, and you do not want to be the guy that stops everything because being the blind man. So back at there, I had to make the judgment call see or face because of fogging issues. But if anybody out there is asking, should you wear face protection? 100%.
100.
Believe you should have some, as you know, nomads over here. Odin's showing us right now. Good face protection is, I wholly suggest it.
Yes, yes, and I'm actually going to work before the next event on getting one of those nice like $60 face mesh things that fit under a gator. But right now I just run a silicone protector that covers like literally right here. And
Did you
that's
need one to
just-
look like Bane?
Oh, dude, that would be awesome. But it's
I got a
still
COVID
just
mask
enough.
at the start of it.
It's just enough to protect your teeth. That's what you're after, is protecting your teeth. And Brewer, Airsoft Brewer,
I don't
shout
want
out
to get
to
shot in
you
the nose. I don't want to get shot in the cheek, the chin, nothing.
We
But-
had a nose shot on the
Yes,
team
we did. Yes, we did.
at
Yeah.
this event. He had to push that BB out of his nose.
Yeah.
He's got the video of it. He's got the video of him going, boop.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. Like a JT ProFlex, this thing will not fog, and I put the mesh lower on the bottom of it, so it is completely breathable. It is awesome. It's got a little visor on the top that comes off, on and off. Yeah, this right here, the lower on it, makes it super, super nice.
Yeah.
And these goggles do not fog. It's $100, and then I think 30 for this thing. I throw a second strap on it just because I want to look cool, and I still got a little speed soft stuff going on around the house here. So, that is, and like JT makes a brown lens, which I'm a huge fan of brown lenses. They naturally cut UV, and what is that, gas mask?
No, it's
Oh, that
one
thing's-
I got, and this is actually the ANSI rated.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, my kid's got a regular gas mask too. Used to wear. Now he's a speed softer, and so he wears a JT or a dye. But
And
yeah, the
Wearing
JT
a gas
ProFlex
mask.
is nice.
I didn't like wearing.
I
a
had
gas
that
mask
at Sheboygan, but I didn't
wear
wear
in
it.
it now.
All right.
I
All right.
should've.
But I said shout out to Airsoft Brewer for dropping a change that he would like to see in Airsoft in the chat. And we're going to discuss this real quick. I'd change MED across the board in the US. It should not exist. It causes more problems than helping.
Did I write that, or do I have like an alter ego?
An alter ego.
I 100%
Get into
agree
this.
with Brewer. Minimum engagement distance is a big problem. That bang rule, and I'm going to say bang rule bullshit, no. Like,
Yeah, I have a meme that says "bang bang roll." Oh, you're adorable.
now, minimum engagement distance with snipers and DMRs, I do understand because they're operating at a higher joule limit in FPS, and most people that usually run DMRs and snipers also run heavier weight BB, so they hit harder. That makes sense, but just like general rifleman, SMG, LMG, pistol, meds, just stop. Just stop it. Just make it go away. Even though
Agreed.
we have children that play Airsoft, and pretty much across the board I've seen you cannot be younger than 12 to play Airsoft at pretty much every field I've looked into. That's one of the things that you need to discuss with your children of like, if you're going to play Airsoft, you're going to get shot up close. It's going to hurt, but it'll be okay.
It ain't gonna
It's-
tickle.
It's not
say-
going to be long lasting.
I say you get rid of the minimum engagement rules across the board. I don't care if it's sniper. I don't care if it's SMG. I don't care what it is. You walk out onto the field. It's open freaking gameplay. You're telling
Then
me
I'm
it's
going in with my
easier to grab
DMR.
a target
Yeah.
through a scope? I mean, come on. Let's play.
Yeah.
You know what you're walking out there to go
And-
against. And it was like, oh, well, it'll hurt more. Yeah, it usually does in combat too.
And you know,
I mean,
Brewer
it is what it is.
and Brewer, just
Yeah,
for
'cause if
you.
I sneak into you,
Yep, go ahead.
go ahead, Swear, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say.
I'll say
I'm
if I sneak up on you with a, and you've got a sniper rifle. You're in real combat. You're not going to turn around and go, hang on, let me get my pistol out here. You're going to turn around and put a 6.5 Creedmoor in my chest. I
Yeah,
mean, that's just how it is. So
There
yeah,
you go.
100. And I'm gonna caveat Brewer's thing with this is also no full auto in buildings. If you're gonna allow SMGs to run indoors, you can allow LMGs to run indoors. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
difference in dual rating though.
Yeah.
LMG is 1.5, and like Logan got shot in the face by one last year. Dude was running 4.6s in his LMG,
Oh,
shooting
that's just
into the crematorium.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
somebody
lit
out to
him
hurt
up.
somebody, and that's not cool.
That's what
no,
I said.
No.
That's what I said. You know,
no.
That's
and
somebody
but
out
an
to hurt
SMG,
somebody.
I just ordered one.
Yeah, but it's
Like,
also one of those things where with the caveat on allowing full auto in there, you have to put in the rule set with that of no sustained full auto fire like in real life, because if you're doing full auto, you're not just spraying until you're empty. It's 3 to 5.
Yeah, if you had
It's
an
3 to 5
MP5
second
in real
burst.
life, you're not putting 35 rounds just spraying out of that thing until you run out. Nobody's doing that.
No, and it's 3 to 5 second round bursts or 3 to 5 round bursts, because it with real life full auto, when you are just spraying like that, you are not going to control the upward climb from that recoil at all, and accuracy goes out the window. I'm going to give credit where credit is due from Sheboygan, from Squirrel Team 6, Geimer on Squirrel Team 6, and I know he's in the chat, but bro, you were a pro running SMGs. You were doing 3 to 5 second bursts, and you were dead on accurate every time. You literally ran a master class on how you should do full auto fire at Sheboygan. Really did.
I was going to ask who the guy on your team was that was running SMG, because yeah, he was running it like it was a real life SMG. I
Yes.
just ordered a SEMA Platinum SMG because I'm tired of not having one on the squad, and I ordered things for it because it's still Airsoft, and we're going to play by the rules that
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was
blank
our
across the
indoor
stomach.
LMG guy basically.
Yeah. And
It's
He knows an
fantastic at it.
SMG.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he was that was the cleanest, most beautiful use of full auto I've seen at an Airsoft event, minus myself at Shadowlands. When I ran Mr. Torg, my Mark 46 LMG,
Where we knew where you were on the field because we
Yeah.
could hear you.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. The only times that I would do like anything longer than 5 seconds, it would go up to about 8 seconds, but that would be a covering fire. That's essentially all that is, because it's essentially just to keep their heads down. But you still don't
Mhm.
go past like an 8-second run on sustained fire, because yet again, its accuracy goes out the window. Yes, I know with AEGs, or non-gas blowback stuff, recoil is taken out, but still, it's also when you get sprayed with just a constant flood, it becomes overshooting as well. Like it just control your full auto fire, people.
Yeah, but you know what? I can tell you, because I played all over with the LMGs, SMGs, and that. It's when one's out there, you change up how you're coming out of cover, how you're gonna move.
Yep.
In the SMG, like ours, I plan on running an amplifier. I want
Oh
it to
yeah.
be loud. I want it to be, I want it to be known that it's coming, and you definitely stay tucked in, and you're a lot more
Exactly.
conservative, and you can get places with that. I've seen guys run down hallways dry firing an SMG, and it wasn't a single soul stuck their head out to try to take them out because they didn't want to get sprayed down with it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I need to get
I
an
should have handed
amplifier
you
for
my
Resident
amplifier
Evil.
that I made because I had it up there.
Yeah. But Brewer, that was an awesome change with Med, and with the caveats that we threw on with full auto and everything. Everything we threw onto that, it just it's one of those things where I 100 like med alone, I've seen more problems, and I see a lot of arguments with med come out of Airsoft more than anything else. When
The
you
most
do
common
have
fight in there.
yeah, when you have like the bang rule or anything like that. Because also you have those people that'll just be like bang 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 bang. That's no.
The blind firing bangs around corners. I've
Yeah,
seen that happen too. The field I started at had a bang rule, and it was absolutely stupid. Guys would just step around the corner yelling bang.
yeah. It's like pre-shooting with your mouth.
Which back
It's like
in May,
finding that glitch in a video game and using it to just tear up other players. It's not.
Yeah.
It's working the system. That's not what the rule is there for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And if you
Exactly.
don't want to get shot, then this isn't the sport for you.
Exactly.
And then people always say, oh, well, they're trying to bring the kids into here. You know what? My son, when he was 12 years old, was not ready for airsoft. He really wasn't ready at 14 quite then. But you know what? 12-year-old Landon still wanted to play airsoft at 14 and 16. They'll want to play back then when they're ready for it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few
Well,
kids that are
you would
tougher and crazier, and I've seen them.
up to the
You
parent.
see
I
a
think the
12-year-old
kid will
son
let
coming to you
know
and be
real
like,
quick
yeah, we're
when
going to
you
go in the
feel it.
garage. I'm going to fire once, and you're going to decide if you want to go or not. Whack. Ah! That's a no. When
Again,
you
I think
take
it's
that
up
and
to
not
the
do
parents.
that, then it's a yes.
I think it's up to the parents, and the kid's going to let you know real quick when they get out there if they're going to be into it. Don't pressure them, don't push them, but it's up to the parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
If you're afraid to take a grenade to the keister, you don't belong out there.
I mean,
Well, I don't. There were a couple.
Go ahead.
That's a whole. Yeah.
That's a whole nother discussion because
It's going to happen, though.
Yeah, but taking a grenade to the ass still ain't shit to taking a grenade to the balls. As y'all saw
True.
in my last
I wear a
video.
cup for that reason. Absolutely wear a cup for that reason.
And I have to say, I never considered it before OP Blacklist, but after seeing what happened to my fellow teammates, I will.
Yeah,
be
agreed. The cup might be in the next order.
like
Buy the expensive Shock Doctor brand. Buy the expensive one, and with the gel sides on it. And then if you start getting chafing from it, there's some stuff called Glide that you can buy that runners use. And I
Yep.
swear by it. I have one in my box and that because I'll end up getting chafe from it like a 30,000 step day at Muscatatuck or something like that, and you're going to be miserable. That stuff is God sent. Trust me.
I can honestly say I'm fortunate enough that in my last experience with a grenade going off, right underneath the jewels, thick thighs, thave bald. Because if I wasn't crouched down with my legs almost together, yeah, that would have been a different story. But guys, we've been running. This is probably so far the longest episode of the Council of Airsoft Dudes that we've had. We've been going for almost 2 hours now, so I think we're gonna start rolling it down to a close. I loved everybody's changes that they've brought. We could all obviously go on about this forever. There are changes across the board that I think all of us could agree on and disagree on. Even in the chat, you guys can also agree with this. It's just going to be everybody's going to have their thing, and I think the problem that is holding a lot of these changes back are elitists. With that being said, we had one more question in there that I did want to address, and somebody asked if we decided where we're going to next for our Task Force Shrubbery meetup, and yes, we did. I made announcement videos. I made a short for it. So anybody out there who wants to come to the next Task Force Shrubbery meetup next year, because this is going to be an annual thing for us with the Task Force Shrubbery meetup. That's where Squirrel Team 6 will go to an event and have a good old time. We will be going to American Milsim's Iron Horse in Perry, Georgia. It takes place in the beginning of November. That's around the time frame that they have that. We will be there next year, guys. So if you want to join us for that, please join the Discord. To stay informed, I will also be making videos as it gets closer. We plan this out 1.5 years in advance, essentially, so we can get as many people out as possible to come play Airsoft, support a really good Airsoft event promoter, and have a great time. With that, guys, I want to say thank you very much for joining me tonight on the council, to Odin, Ghost, Jason, and my wonderful, illustrious co-host, Cutter, of course, for being on. I hope you all had a great time discussing.
Always.
Absolutely.
And if any of you guys want to be on another council, please just let me know when we have it if you want to chime in on the next event or gathering. Convening of the council. So, with that being said, guys, I thank you all for joining us tonight. Make sure you smash that like button and go into the description and check out everybody's channels. I made sure to link all of their stuff below in the description. Odin does not have a YouTube channel. He actually proxies through Plasma Dragon Airsoft. I've had him on before.
That's a good page.
But I did plug his Instagram page. So go over there, give him a follow, give him some support and love. Same for Ghost,
good man.
Cutter, and Mr. Crazy Jason over there. But with that all being said, guys, like I always say, and you guys know to follow along, never ever forget your battle cry. Nee!